Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today. So tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we're going to be talking about the lore that is coming into Sea of Thieves via Hunter's Call, what I think 2025 is going to hold in store for Sea of Thieves, and a whole lot more. So let's get into it. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They are the ones that are supporting this content by going over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to support this content with their money. I appreciate them for doing that. It does take care of the actual podcast bills. Whether you believe it or not, I do actually have to spend some money on this, and the patrons help take care of those costs. And because of that, I am eternally grateful for them because the podcast is done easier as a result. With that, I always like to shout them out. As a reminder, there is an episode that goes out for the captains to be able to join up that happens at the end of every month. And this February month, that's going to happen on February 22nd at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. GMT. And let's see if it's 1 p.m. my time, it would be 6 hours before. So it would be 5 hours, so 7 a.m. I think in Australia, around 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, the 23rd. So I could be wrong about that, so I apologize, but I'm trying to get the time zones worked out for y'all. But anyway, I like to thank the patrons because it really does help out. It really does mean the world to me that you support. You don't have to, but you do, and that means a lot to me. I want to continue to make content for the show. I really want to make sure that you guys are getting good discussions, so I'm working on getting some more streamers over because I want to get their opinions on stuff. I've reached out to a couple, and I'm waiting to hear back on getting scheduling for things like that. So just trying to get that in the mindset so you guys know what's going on with the podcast. But if you ever have any questions, concerns, comments, you're always more than welcome to reach out to me via the Patreon or other means. So as we are getting into this, I want to thank A-Chick, Toasts, L-Cute, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Longsharts, Chateau Noof, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Godhammer 6, Jorby Jorbs, Carl Embo, Kylea the Aficionado, Mr. Blizzard, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Ors, Xbox Mike 29, Munis Max, Norwegian, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Ribloid, Rustbelt Kid, Shoe Daddy 13, who's new to the podcast, or not to the podcast, but to the Patreon. Welcome. Skamelt 666, Tommy D, TN Professor, Vibralux, Wailing Witch, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, The Lore Chronologist Deadeye Dre, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and wow. Thank you all so much for your support. It really does mean the world to me, and I'm really happy that you guys are able to help out with this. So thank you so much. With that, let's get into the episode because I got some news to talk about. All right, I want to get into the main topic today, which is going to be the Hunter's Call update. And this is more towards the lore side of it. We've had some folks that have been keeping track of the different logs that have been coming out in the different areas, mostly over at Shipwreck Bay, or not Shipwreck Bay, Sharkbait Cove. We've also got some new dangers from the sea volumes that have been showing up in the Devil's Roar over with Morrow, and Gray says she's got one over there that's talking about Red Maw as a new Megalodon, one that attacked her that we've never seen before. We've also got the latest one that kind of talks a little bit about a dual threat. Now I'm going to read through the latest one. This is the last shark, the last statue over at Sharkbait Cove. Then I can report back. This is all Merrick talking. Then I can report back to the Pirate Lord, keep my family informed, and stop risking my existence. I reckon so. Then Purple Eyes and the Red Eyes are linked to the dual threat. Leastways, that's how I see it. But them white eyes on the first statue have been puzzling me for a while. Maybe the shrouded ghost holds the key. The monsters have pink eyes though, but no other megalodon is white. It's a message, all right. Question is what is it saying? Eyes see things, right? But maybe we'll see these terrible twins clear as day. I'm sure maybe this is something. This is about something. Says to me that these newcomers aren't the only dangers on the horizon. Perhaps then what's here already will be riled up with their arrival. So it's interesting for me to kind of see like how things are going with the story, because I was having some discussion with some folks, and a lot of the discussion was around like how there wasn't any story or anything new to the lore that's pushing the world forward. And while I don't disagree in terms of like Flameheart, I think Flameheart's story is done. That still leaves a lot to be desired with the captain. And as I've been kind of like looking and seeing a lot of the stuff that's going on with Sea of Thieves, I've noticed that right now they are pushing everything forward for Hunter's Call. They're going to expand it into a full actual trade company. They're going to have voyages. They're going to have emissary. They're going to have a host of new things coming to it eventually. We've talked a little bit about that in the past, but it looks to me that they are looking to have their own style of raid voyage, in a way for us to be able to summon megalodons. Now, I think that the reason why we are seeing some of the shark statues on Sharkbait Cove with different gems for eyes, maybe an indication that we're getting new types of the megalodon, and that with that, we're going to have a red one and potentially the purple, the crested queen that we have right now. It's hard to know like what they mean by all this, but I like the idea that they're talking about dual threats. And one of the issues I think that we've had with Sea of Thieves is the hungering one was the only time I would say that a megalodon has really been a major threat in Sea of Thieves. Most of the other megalodons you can handle, and ever since they scaled them based on crew size, it's usually not too big of an issue to handle them. Like you can actually kill them relatively easily. 2, on the other hand, would be a different story. Even at the difficulty that they're at now, I think having 2 to deal with would definitely be harder, especially solo. It's one thing to have one come in and bite you. It knocks your ship around, but 4 holes typically isn't too dangerous on a sloop. You can usually deal with that relatively easily. 8 holes is a different story, especially if they're circling you. So I'm very curious to know if what they're planning is to have 2 megalodons that are coming in at the same time with some of the voyages that they are going to be working on for this update. The idea of the white megalodon, or the white-eyed megalodon, that to me speaks more of the ancients. And the only thing I can think of, and the reason I brought in the captain as a talking point, is because I've been watching more and more videos going on and just kind of thinking about it as I've been kind of like trying to figure out what has been going on. And I think because it may just be influence from Captain Falcor, who shout out has been scraping videos together about stuff in the game that is not being very exciting right now. But I'm really interested in this concept that he has in a lot of videos, that the Sea of the Damned is to blame. And the reason I bring this up is because the more he kept saying it, the more it started to like rattle around in my brain. And I kept thinking like, yeah, the Sea of the Damned is to blame. Most of the things get blamed on the Sea of the Damned. We've got Tasha's arm got blamed on the Sea of the Damned. We had Davy Jones and the Sirens blamed with Sea of the Damned. We had Monkey Island to blame with the Sea of the Damned. We had Pirate's Life to blame with Sea of the Damned. So many things are used as like Flameheart coming back was because of the Sea of the Damned, right? So the more and more I kept thinking about it, I'm like, okay, well, what if they're going back to the well? And by well, I mean Sea of the Damned. And that's when I started to think, okay, well, where are some of the unresolved storylines that I would like to have brought in for 2025. And one of them is the fact, and I've been saying this for a bit now, I think a lot of people are kind of wanting something as well too. Sea of Thieves really needs to have its Pirates of a Pirate's Life 2. We really need to have like a momentous event that is on the scale of a Pirate's Life 2 to really draw in people who want to give Sea of Thieves a chance and check it out. They need to get the game fixed. So I think that there is a huge priority right now to try and optimize the game. And I think that it is genuinely because of them working on a port for the Switch 2. I want to talk a little bit about that just because of the history. So let's put a pin in on the Megalodons with the Captain and Davy Jones and stuff. Let's put a little pin in that. And I want to bring you over. Let's take a little walk. We're going to have a little walk, and I want to show you the Switch 2. The reason I think that the Switch 2 is going to be the next place for Sea of Thieves as far as an ecosystem is, one, there's been some recent interviews with Phil Spencer talking about the fact that they are going to be bringing more and more games to the Switch 2. We already know that they're contracted to be able to bring Call of Duty to the Switch. Then we have to think, okay, what's after that? Well, there's been a lot of rumors from people who've been given knowledge about things. Whether or not it actually happens is always up to Xbox because they can always pull the plug on something. But there is a Gears of War trilogy that is a collection that is getting put together, and that potentially that could be going to like PlayStation 5 or Switch 2. We just got news that Forza Horizon 5, which is a first-party game, is now going to PlayStation 5, as well as Indiana Jones in May. So already there has been rumblings of things like Gears of War going to PlayStation 5 and Halo Master Chief Collection going to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. And because of that, and because of their interest in porting games from their own library, their first party content over to other ecosystems to bring in that cash flow. First off, it's driving console warriors mad. They're going crazy about it, which is silly in my mind because they're not taking anything away. But Microsoft has this initiative. And when they do initiatives like this, they're always looking for studios who are willing to be able to do stuff. And if you think back in the day, when Sea of Thieves was coming out, Sea of Thieves was the first game to come day and date with Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. And they used Rare as a test bed to see like what are players going to respond to when it comes to Game Pass, when it comes to Game Pass PC, when it comes to the play anywhere, being able to buy the game once and play it anywhere through the Xbox ecosystem, having it day one launch into Game Pass, as well as being sold. And they have always been like, they're at the forefront. So that was the first little nod to that. The second nod to that was when they released on Steam. They brought the game over to the Steam client, and they were one of the first ones to be test bedded for the Steam store. Then fast forward to another year, and we find out that Sea of Thieves is getting ported to a competing console, the PlayStation 5, and they even got custom cosmetics. So now we are sitting here in another situation where there is a new console coming out, the PlayStation or the Switch 2, which is looking to be as powerful, if not maybe a bit more, than a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Sea of Thieves is still an Xbox One supported game. They have not released support for the Xbox One. If you have that console, which I think came out, and forgive me for not knowing because I was not there during the launch. I had no clue. I had heard rumblings of an Xbox One, but I had no clue what was going on. I was not playing video games at that time. That console, if I recall correctly, came out like around 2011, 2012. It was quite a while ago. Like, it is an old console, and they are still supporting Sea of Thieves on that console, much to the chagrin of the community, mind you. So the idea here being that Rare is kind of Microsoft's guinea pig when it comes to Xbox titles. They are the ones that are typically like, okay, give them the Azure servers, give them Game Pass, see how it goes. Give them the Steam launch. Let's see how that goes. Give them PlayStation 5 launch. See how that goes. Now we have something that is the equivalent of other consoles that are still supported by Rare coming out in the form of the Switch 2. It feels like they are going to want to release on that. Now, may not be at launch for the Switch 2, but it would probably be within the first year. That's my feeling on this. I have no insider knowledge, and I have no one whispering in my DMs. It is purely just based off of the history of the company, the history of the studio, and the initiatives that they were pushing. They were pushing to make their first party content third party content because they want to get that revenue. And Sea of Thieves is a perfect test bed. If they wanted to, they could very easily work with Nintendo, and hear me out, working to build cosmetics that are pre-order bonuses for the Switch 2. If they want to get wild, this is what I would do. I would create cosmetics that emulate the Red Lion from Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda. If you're not familiar, I apologize. It's a weird reference, I know, but The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker was a Zelda game that was purely based on water. It was travel to islands, gather little fragments of a Triforce, put them all together, go and fight Ganondorf. I think it was, no, was it Ganon? I think it was Ganon. I can't remember. It's been a while. And I have not gotten to play the HD version that was on the Wii U, but regardless, the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD has been trapped on the Wii U since it came out. And Nintendo has refused to bring that to the Switch library. And I think a lot of that is because they are saving it for the Switch 2, where it will run really nice. They'll have the HD on there, and they're going to bring life to Zelda with a little bit of a gap between Echoes of Wisdom, which is kind of their team that was working on Link's Awakening remake, pulling the Echoes of Wisdom forward with that same art style. While the other team that was working on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are probably working on an Ocarina of Time remake. That's kind of the current rumor. And in the meantime, they're going to bring Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HDs as ports over to the Switch 2. So you've already got the renewed interest, in my mind, the renewed interest of Wind Waker in the Switch 2. Then you take Sea of Thieves, which is a pirate game on the seas with ships, and you give pre-orders out that have a ship set that look similar to the Red Lion, which is obviously there's spoilers there. I'm not going to go into why it's significant, but it's significant. But it's the ship that Link sails around in, or the boy named Link. I don't know if you want to go into the history of Legend of Zelda, but anyway, hear me out. You have Wind Waker HD being released on the Switch 2. You have Sea of Thieves being ported over the Switch 2 because it's playable now over there, and you're going to be able to have voice chat, and you're going to be able to pre-order it and get the Wind Waker pre-order cosmetics for Sea of Thieves, and they're only going to be made available to sail in, just like the red set that I can't remember the name of, that nobody ever thinks about. Because it was literally just a pre-order bonus, and you can only use it on PlayStation consoles, which I hate. But whatever. Me over on my PC with my 2 Xboxes and my 1 PS5, just like sitting here gritting my teeth because I can't have access to my Red Stinger cosmetics or whatever they are. And I think that for 2025, we're going to see a repeat of what they did with the PlayStation 5 port. The studio's quiet. They're not releasing. They're not even keeping up on old events. Grogmanet came and went and nothing happened. They are busy. And I think the reason that they're busy is, one, Hunter's Call. They need to round out the actual trade companies to make sure that those are hitting and that they are playing well. 2, they're looking to optimize the game. They're looking to try and take advantage of the multi-threading Azure servers, whatever that means. It's all blast processing to me. But they are looking to try and make sure that the game feels and works well and looks good, and it's going to play well. And I'm willing to bet that there is a room somewhere in that Rare studio that has a bunch of Switch 2 prototypes that they are playing to see if it works. And if it does, then they are golden. They're good. They're set. they're going to launch the Switch 2 version. It will probably hit in after the June showcase that Xbox does. They will announce that there's a new update coming after Hunter's Call, and that the new thing that is coming after Hunter's Call releases in the first half of the year is going to be A Pirate's Life 2 or The Captain. Because I went through and I just played through the Brethren Court, or the Lords of the Sea, I think is the name of the Tall Tale, but it's the Brethren Court one where you got to go to the Disney fortress and you got to slide around and you got to kill a bunch of ocean crawlers and sirens. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you guys are still working on your blow dart commendations, go do Lords of the Sea if you need to get ocean crawlers. Treasuries are fine, but if you want to get those done, go to go do Lords of the Sea. It's the 4th Tall Tale, I believe, in A Pirate's Life. Go do that one. And when you do the Davy Jones section where you have to go onto the Flying Dutchman and kill a bunch of ocean crawlers with cannons, do not use cannons. Just use the blow dart and use the venom dart with that, because you can just sit there and they're easy enough to dodge, but they're not gonna rush you. You know, they're all on little precipices along the outside, the outer wall, and your blow dart, you know, if you charge it up all the way, will still hit them. It is close enough that you can still hit them with the blow dart. Just use the blow dart. You can get, I got 3 grades. You have to kill 100, right? I got from like grade 1 to grade 4 and almost done with it. Like I got 85 out of my 100 done, all in that Tall Tale. So go do the Tall Tale. You'll get it knocked out a lot faster than I think the treasuries, or God forbid you were actually sailing around looking for ocean crawlers on islands. Bless your soul if that's what you're doing, because that is not the best way to go about that. You're either going to want to do treasuries where you at least have like the waves, the 15 waves of sirens and ocean crawlers. You could probably get it knocked out there. But I'm telling you, like, the Lords of the Sea Tall Tale is not a bad get if you're trying to get ocean crawlers. But I went through there. I was working on that. And as I was working on that, the whole goal of that literally was just to get to the end, because I wanted to hear the dialogue at the end of that Tall Tale where Davy Jones is explaining what they're going to do, how they're going to enslave people to join the Brethren Court when they get killed, after they take out the ferryman and they replace the ferryman with Davy Jones and his Flying Dutchman, and he has control over who gets resurrected in the Sea of Thieves. And it's all for the captain, the CAP''N, right? Which is, if you've watched my other videos, you may know I have this running theory that it is Captain Hook, just purely based on the idea of what's going on. But the point of this was, one of the lines that Davy Jones had actually said was, actually, let me see if I can grab I wonder if I got the clip of that. Hold on.
You're talking about the ferryman.
Aye. With the power of the treasure I possess and the full force of the Dark Brethren on my side, we finally have might enough to destroy his vessel.
And you will be his replacement.
I most certainly will, Warsmith.
So yeah, that part right there, I never thought about, because I always just, and this could be the case. This could be because this is what they wrote and they hadn't really done it. But now with Hunter's Call, maybe they are trying to retcon some of this. Maybe they're trying to go back and use some of the dialogue and work it so that it will feed into what they want to do. And what I'm talking about is the white-eyed ancient, this megalodon that because right now Davy Jones has control of the Daughter of the Sea, like the Kraken, right, with the treasure that Jack stole, the one that we got back. Now we don't know what it does other than it allows them to teleport from place to place to get from area to area. A lot of us had kind of thought, like, oh, okay, well, it's probably Tinkerbell in there. Who knows what it is? We don't actually understand what it is. We know that it's a lantern. We know that it's got a sun on it. But what if this treasure could control more than just the Kraken? What if it could control megalodons as well? What if it can control sea creatures like Davy Jones that are powerful enough to destroy the ferryman's vessel? And that is what everyone is afraid of. That is what everyone is scared is this thing that has been in the Sea of the Damned, that was a memory that is now coming from the memory of the Sea of the Damned into Sea of Thieves, that is being brought in from the Sea of the Damned. And to Falcor's credit, we could actually blame the Sea of the Damned. So this is kind of my idea. They have a Pirate's Life 2 that involves the changes that came in as a result of the Hunter's Call, but ties back to Lords of the Sea, when Davy Jones had been trying to use this ancient megalodon and the twins of Red Maw and this other one, the purple-eyed one, to try and destroy the ferryman. And that threat is now loose in Sea of Thieves in a way that we now have no control over it. But Merrick is going to work on being able to know what's going on, because Merrick has secrets. He had secrets that the Dark Brethren were trying to get from him. That's why they absconded with him, took him to that weird version of Amaranta's memory of the Sea Dog Tavern in the Sea of the Damned. They killed him, and they were holding his soul hostage, trying to get information from him, secrets from Merrick about what he knew that he refused to tell them, secrets on how to summon the Ancient One. He knows how to summon megalodons. He will be teaching us probably how to actually summon megalodons for the Hunter's Call reputation when they update it. And the story will continue with A Pirate's Life 2. The Dark Brethren will finally learn about the Ancient One and the twins. They will be able to move forward with their plans to try and take out the ferryman and try and control pirates' loyalty to the Brethren without Davy Jones. And the captain will be the instigator of all of this. Captain Hook will return to the Sea of Thieves on a swift tide. He will make his way to the Sea of Thieves. And when he does, we will then find out that there is a new faction that you can join, the Dark Brethren Court. And you can pledge yourself on the ferryman to be able to come back as the way to return into the Sea of Thieves after this has come through. So Hunter's Call will bring the update that will introduce the Ancient One and the twins. They will give you ways to summon them and to deal with them as raid voyages that will be like their own world events. The captain will find out what happened. He will be annoyed and mad that the treasure was lost, and he will come back to try and claim and control these larger, stronger megalodon, which will also stir up activity with a regular megalodon. And he will try to use those to control the Sea of Thieves through the Sea of the Damned by taking out the ferryman, completing what Davy Jones failed to do. And Duke and Amaranta and Wanda are all going to be helping him do this. Maybe actually get to see the Gold Hoarder. Who knows? You can never get a good bad guy down for long. So that's kind of my thoughts. Is the Hunter's Call update is going to bring in new threats and how to summon them. They are going to release the information. Like, we're going to find out what it was, the secrets were that Merrick had way back when they were doing adventures and they were holding him hostage, and we had to parkour our way up through the Sea Dog Tavern amongst the griefers in their own weird little arena that they made for those 2 weeks. And we have to try and reconcile the fact that that was the information that he was holding on to, and why they were trying to get rid of his ghost, because they still want control over those creatures. They don't have the Kraken anymore, but these Megalodon could be next. So let me know what you guys think. It's interesting to think that we're going to be getting new types of Megalodon. I genuinely hope that whatever this new Megalodon threat is, and I agree 100% when it comes to Falcor on this, whatever this new Megalodon threat is, I want it to be so hard that people are begging Rare to nerf it, because we have not had a strong threat in Sea of Thieves in a very, very, very long time. Fort of Fortune was the last time I was like, nope, I don't want to do it. It is flipping hard, and I am just so over getting just absolutely destroyed every time I go try and do one, because by the time I get close to getting it done, somebody's coming and smacking me with their ship. And I get frustrated, and I'm like, I'm done. I cannot waste my time with this. I want a Megalodon that is just like, this is torture. Holy cow. No one is ever going to be able to solo this naked with a chicken alive for the entire fight. And that's what I want. So yeah, it would be very cool to see after June, when the showcase comes out, that not only are they porting Sea of Thieves to Switch 2, but they are also going to be releasing a Pirate's Life 2. And we are going to get the conclusion that we want from that story, from that plot line, that will tie into what's been going on with the Megalodons, why Merrick was so important to the Brethren Court, and why he's been hiding in the Pirate Legend hideout for so long. Like, Rare is going to tie all of these threads together with a great kind of way to tie in the story and bring in players for the Switch 2 launch, with some really cool Nintendo pre-order cosmetics, which I will 100% be there. I will pre-order that game even if I don't have a Switch 2. That is how stupidly dedicated to this game I am. But I really hope that is where we're going. And I hope that Rare has the runway, I guess would be a good way, the landing strip to be able to land this plane of an idea that I have, because right now, and I haven't been on Insiders in a hot minute. I don't really know like how things are going. But the game right now does not feel great. And I want to get into that after I take a quick break. Before I forget, I wanted to bring this up earlier and I couldn't really squeeze it in, but I wrote it down on my notes. I play Fortnite from time to time. Sometimes I jump into the Lego game. Sometimes I'm just jumping in to get some quests done, or to shoot some people in no build mode. I don't do the OG stuff. I know Caleb likes that, but I go in from time to time for Fortnite. Just recently I got my Cyberpunk 2077 cosmetics, and I've got my V, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm like, cool. There's only like a couple Tron characters that I want to pick up left, and then I'm like, all right, cool. No more cosmetics for Fortnite. I'm good. I got my fandoms in there, unless they somehow manage to bring in Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm and Dr. Grant from flipping Jurassic Park. Maybe they'll trigger my fandom and I'll get them, but I don't think that's going to happen. I would expect that's going to be kind of hard. If they've done that, don't tell me, please. Don't. I don't want to know that they've done that and find out that I missed it. Just don't tell me that. Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up, the whole Fortnite thing, is right now they are doing Pirates of the Caribbean in the store. I don't know how long it's going to go. I don't even care. I went and bought what I wanted, and I was fine. They have Davy Jones in there, and they have Elizabeth Swann and Barbossa, and of course Captain Jack Sparrow. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I thought it was really cool that there's two versions of the costume for Jack Sparrow. There is regular Jack Sparrow, and there is skeleton cursed Jack Sparrow. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, it's kind of messed up that Fortnite got this. I mean, it's already bad enough that Fortnite has a Davy Jones costume where the tentacle beard is present, and you can actually be Davy Jones with the tentacle beard, adding insult to the fact that Davy Jones in Sea of Thieves had his tentacle beard. But for whatever reason, the costume doesn't have that. So I was thinking, if I'm going to start making wishes, I'm going to dream big, baby. I am going to say, like, with a Pirate's Life 2, we will probably get an introduction to new characters. It'll be interesting to see if we ever get Like we had the Rose and George were kind of, and this was confirmed by Mike Chapman, by the way. Rose and George in Sea of Thieves were kind of the Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann characters, and I think that a lot of that just kind of comes down to legalities when they're like, hey, you know, we've got these folks, but we can't get them. It's just not going to work out. It's going to be too hard. So if you have something to shove in there in place of Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, that'd be great. It'll help you tie. And I think like Mike Chapman probably had this like planned in his mind. He's like, okay, cool. Well, you know, we want to have these characters from Sea of Thieves kind of working with Pirates of the Caribbean to kind of keep the storylines intertwined. And no doubt, like A Pirate's Life is a perfect blend of outside lore being brought into the game, furthering the story, pushing things forward, and then exiting in a very nice, cute way. I think the only part of a Pirate's Life that never made sense was Commodore no, not Norrington. I can't remember the little Weasley dude. I love him as a villain, but I cannot think of who he was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But he was the one. He's always the one that's like, it's just good business. It's just business. You know, the one that's like, he's in the top of the tower at the end of the Pirate's Life. And you're just kind of like, what are you doing here? And everyone thought that it was like, oh, he's going to usher in the East India Trading Company with the sovereigns, right? Like with the sovereigns and now I'm blanking on the Grand Maritime Union, right? That's what we thought back in the day, but that's not actually what happened. But let's go back in time to where I was talking about Captain Jack Sparrow and the cursed version of him. With the Pirates Life 2, I want them to go back and I want them to touch up the costumes that we have. And what I want them to do is have the Captain Jack Sparrow costume that you can wear be something that is reactive to the time of day. When in Curse of Black Pearl, when Jack and Barbossa are fighting in the cave over, you know, like who's going to be captain or whatever, they are going in and out of the moonlight. And every time they go into the moonlight, they look like their cursed versions. And every time they come out of the moonlight, they look like their normal versions. I want the costumes in Sea of Thieves to do the same thing. When it is nighttime and the sun is out, let's have cursed Jack Sparrow costume. And you do the same thing with the monkey too, Jack. Have them change. So when you are wearing the costume for Jack Sparrow during the daytime, you just look like Captain Jack Sparrow. You're just walking around, no big deal. But as soon as the nighttime comes out and the moon is out and we have volumetric clouds to be able to block the sunlight or block the sunlight and block the moonlight, have it so that you can see yourself as the cursed version of Jack Sparrow. That would be cool. I know that may not line up with the lore in A Pirate's Life or just Pirates of the Caribbean in general, but we do know, and this is all kind of coming around full circle, that the cursed Cortez, the gold of the cursed gold of Cortez is in Sea of Thieves. It is literally in Sea of Thieves. And if Sea of Thieves, and if, you know, Jack ever came back, there's no reason why he wouldn't want to go back and maybe play around with that. He's always been obsessed with immortality, and the cursed gold is a way to be cursed and live forever. You will never die. Of course, you can't eat apples, or feel love, which seemed to be a weird thing that they kind of harped on a little bit in those movies, but you live forever, right? You know, Jack's always been wondering like how to live forever. And that's just been a really big obsession with his, which is why Sea of Thieves is such an enticing place. So I'm hoping that they do A Pirate's Life 2. I hope that they use that as a way to bring in the captain who's going to try and take control of Sea of Thieves by controlling the megalodons that are being brought in for a Hunter's Call update that no one can control because they are so unruly. And the only thing that could have potentially actually controlled them was the treasure that Jack stole from Davy Jones, and that treasure is now lost, and that the Brethren Court are sending pirates who are loyal to them out to go and try and find it in a new faction that is released later in the year with the release of the Switch 2 version of Pirates of the Caribbean 2 with Sea of Thieves as a mashup and have a really just killer fall and winter season for Sea of Thieves. And that once that is all done, they can say, okay, they can put their hands up and say, we have completed Sea of Thieves. We are now feature rich. The stories are tied up. We've got all the lore kind of locked in. We're good. Now we are going to work on bringing all of the adventures, all of the story and stuff that we had back into the game as something that you can get access to through Safer Seas. So that if you want, you can play through Safer Seas, and this, you know, this could be something that's available in Adventure High Seas as well too. This is just me saying, like, if I had my druthers, I want to make sure that it's at least available through Safer Seas, right? Because all the tall tales are, all of the adventures, all of the lore books, all of that crap is turned on and set up so that if you want to go from the beginning of Sea of Thieves 2018 and play through all of the lore, all of that you can do it over time. You can get access to all of it. You can choose what adventure you want to dive to, what adventure you want to work on, and it will phase you into a server that gives you access to that specific thing. So if you miss something, or you're a lore hound and you just want to go back like I do from time to time, you have that access. And that will be Sea of Thieves 1 wrapped up, and they will start to release Everwild and start working on Sea of Thieves 2, a whole new sea, a whole bunch of new islands, maybe another biome, different ships, well, more optimized, brought into Unreal 5. They've got ray tracing set up. They've understood how to make Sea of Thieves. They're going to continue to work on their live service stuff, but they're going to approach Sea of Thieves 2 with a different mindset that's going to ensure the longevity of the game and introduce features and phase out content on a regular basis so that nothing is just continuously like hindering or holding up or causing delays. They can go in and really like buff up the whole system as far as like how to deal with cheaters, how to deal with hackers, things like that. Like they can start fresh and start from the ground up if they wanted to. That's kind of my thought here on what 2025 could be. I know this sounds wild. You're like, Logan, this is never going to happen, dude. It's probably just going to die off. They're never going to get everything all like tied up together. They're already having trouble just getting story and the game balance. I know, but time and time again, Rare has surprised me. They surprised me with the Devil's Roar. They surprised me with the Hungry One. They surprised me with the Shrouded Ghost once. And I kind of jumped in on someone who actually got it themselves, and it wasn't really mine. They surprised me with A Pirate's Life. They surprised me with Monkey Island. They surprised me with PvP that I hated, and also PvP that I loved, which they subsequently killed after they slowly murdered it and made the button smaller on the launch menu to where you couldn't even see it anymore. They surprised me by offering seasons. They continuously impress, and it would not be something that I would expect for them to do a Switch 2 launch. They've been talking about how they've been working on trying to get a different controller, another limited edition controller. Boy, howdy, would it be flippin' fantastic if they managed to release a custom Sea of Thieves controller, a limited edition custom controller for Sea of Thieves for Xbox, for PlayStation 5, and one of the Switch Pro controllers. If they were working on it and they said, you know what? We got multiple ecosystems. We've been wanting to do another controller for a while. Why don't we release one that's like for all of them? That way everyone gets to have a really cool controller, but it's going to be an it's going to be like a console platform specific type of controller. So everyone gets their own flavor of it. It'll all kind of look similar across the board, but they'll at least get an opportunity to, like, these are the kind of ideas that are just rattling around in my brain from time to time. And I can't help but think that they got to be having the same thought over at Rare. And I just hope that someone over there who's passionate about the game the way that we are is frustrated and thinks we could do so much cool stuff, and that all we need is a little more faith and a lot more time, and they can get it, and they can just they can just get it. And in the meantime, yes, we will sit here and we will deal with what we always deal with the hackers, with the cheaters. It feels like it's I was sailing the other day and A Chick and I were streaming. At least I'm pretty sure we were streaming. And yeah, we were. I was streaming Sea of Thieves. We were in a sloop and we were just sailing around doing commendations. We were just knocking stuff out. And we went to go drop off 2 Reaper bounties because there was 3 on the server somehow. And when we went over to Reaper's hideout, there was a brig that had just gotten sunk by a sloop. And we were like, okay, well, we need to hit them with a barrel ball with the Reaper's markup. So we go over there. We forget to put the Reaper's markup. We hit him with a barrel ball and we're like, crap. So I pull out my speaking trumpet and I'm like, hey, do you guys mind if we finish a commendation? We need to hit another crew with a barrel ball with the Reaper's markup. And we just forgot to put the Reaper's markup. And they raised their sails. They legit were just like, yeah, okay. And it was just a couple of kids, Like, I mean, kids to me, like I'm 42 years old. Like they were kids to me. So they could have been in their 20s for all I know, but they sounded young and they were nice. And we were sitting there hanging out and we started talking with them. We were like, do you guys want to knock out some commendations? You guys got a horn of fair winds. Do you want to do the one where you got to like blow people off the harpoon? And they're like, yeah. So we harpooned each other's ships. And we're like having each other like run across the harpoon, and everyone got to use the horn to knock the person off of the harpoon and get that commendation knocked off. Because who is trying to do that now that the flipping thing is done? Like that content is older content, and nobody's like trying to pull off these commendations anymore. Nobody's trying, like the idea of using a harpoon to run across to get onto another crew right now. Nobody's going to do it. They're just using the cannon and the grapple. So the idea is there and the commendation is stuck there, but nobody's going to, like, unless you are actually trying to talk to someone, how are you supposed to get a circumstantial commendation knocked out unless you are actively trying to replicate the scenario that you need to be able to do that? It's almost impossible, especially if you're in the middle of combat and you're not thinking about that kind of stuff. So we had a really good time with her. In all of this, just like we were about to go do some skeleton thrones. That's how excited we were about these kids that were just like, oh yeah, sure. Well, we were working on commendations too. So guess what happened? A brig rolled up, a different one, because the other guys were leaving. They said that, hey, we're leaving, sink us. And they're like, all right, cool. So they sank them. So another brig rolls up, right? And they slam on their brakes and they come right up into us and we start talking. Everybody's talking. And next thing you know, I get killed. I have reached pistol, flintlock right to the face. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right. Kids killing, get it. That's fun. You guys are funny. So I come back and A Chick is saying, I got killed. And then we start hearing cannon fire and we're like, oh, they're. So we sailed off and we're like, all right, we're going to go get our 2 bounty chests turned in and we're going to come back and we're going to kill them and sink them. We'll get back to our commendation grinding, right? These guys shoot over, they get on board and they kill us really quickly. And I'm like, okay, but they're not invincible. Like we were able to kill them. One dude comes on, he tries to hit me with the Horn of Fair Winds. He tries to blow me off the ship. I snipe him. I get him down. I grab the Horn of Fair Winds and his buddy gets on board and I use the Horn of Fair Winds to knock him off my boat. And he's annoyed. He's just, kids yelling. He doesn't know what's going on. So I get sailing and I knock him off the boat and I'm like, okay, well, he can't get on board because I started sailing. And as soon as A Chick gets back, because she fell off the ship, then we can start laying into this crew, into this brig, right? Then, thankfully I had cooked a bunch of megalodon meat. I had a whole pocket full of megalodon cooked meat in my pocket. I get hit with 4 shots in very fast succession. And she's talking about, or A Chick's talking about how she's hearing them talk. And he's like, how did the flippin' hit reg? I hit you 4 times. And I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, you're off the boat. I'm sailing away. You hit me with 4 shots fast enough to be able to kill me twice. And you didn't, because I was just chewing through megalodon meat so fast that I was like, well, I'm just going to keep eating because this dude just hit me 4 times in a row within the span of 4 seconds. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's complaining. And his buddy's like, Well, are you doing it right? And this is A-Chick hearing this discussion between this brig crew. And we're like, oh, they're hacking. That's how he was able to shoot me through the ship in the water from me sailing away 4 times in a row in quick succession and get pissed off because I didn't die. I see. And this is not an isolated experience. We've been running into hackers on a more steady cadence. And the more I was talking to people, the more like Stormy Sea Dog showed up in chat one night. He's like, yeah, there's free chat. There's free hacks out there. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic. Congratulations to whoever the people are out there that are letting the kids find these hacks and like be able to use them. Thank you for creating these tools to just go and try and ruin people's days, not days, but like sessions, because there's no stake in it for the kids. They don't care. It's just a fun thing to show up and dunk on people. Like that's their goal. They have no stake in the game. Like to them, an account is just another email address. You know, what do they care? They're not paying for the game. Parents are. So it's been really frustrating. That, along with today, even while I was trying to go on and do a sail on safer seas, mind you, I was trying to go sailing on safer seas to get the B-roll and to listen to the tall tale. Right, wasn't even trying to bother anyone. Just wanted to try and go get the tall tale knocked out so I could re-listen to that audio and capture it. Right. I still ran into server issues, and this was confirmed by the devs that yeah, they're having server issues today. And it's like, guys, fam. Really, like I just want to play the game. I don't want to have to try and log in 3 times to get access to the server for a safer seas session on a tall tale. I don't. There's no reason in my mind why this is an issue. Like what is the holdup here? What is going on? Like, are the servers getting attacked? Why not put out a statement like that? Why not have one of the American customer service representatives who are still on the clock on a Sunday put out a little statement? Hey, safer seas the seas are having issues right now due to server issues. We are investigating it. Please let me know. And while I'm saying this, I am literally having to go onto social media to double check and make sure that they didn't. But I don't think that they did, because I haven't heard anyone else talking about it. But it is 100% something that I ran into today, and I know other streamers ran into it today, which caused them to have to stop playing. And I'm just like, this is a Sunday. Like, this is like the day where most folks are going to try and actually go out and do stuff. And the last tweet that came out from them was on the 31st, talking about a board game playthrough from Steamforge Limited, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, there's a Sea of Thieves Voyage of Legends board game out that the developers went and actually played through a session and recorded it. But I'm looking at the last tweet. It's from January 31st. There's no mention of, actually, let me go take a look at the Sea, because I think they have a Sea of Thieves support account as well too. So, and I think it's just called SOT support on Twitter. I hate being on this site anymore. Sea of Thieves support. Yeah, Sea of Thieves support. Yeah. SOT_support. Okay. The last time they tweeted was December 17th. Have they done any replies? January 20th, they replied to someone who commented about qualifying for Twitch drops. This is the kind of stuff where I'm just like, guys, you're dropping the ball. I love you, but you're dropping the ball. Why was there no mention today about the server issues? People are just not being able to log into the game, or having to try and log into the game, or getting disconnected because they're using too many lure darts. And there's no mention about this. There's no like acknowledgement from the devs. And I'm like, this is the communication issues that you guys have. It's great that you have Drew coming out for developer updates. It's great that you're committing to one podcast episode every quarter. It's great that you're looking to do login things and make sure that there's bonuses for updates, even when there isn't as much content, and you're just working on balancing and fixing the game. But fam, if there's issues and you confirm them with partners, tell the rest of the community who are on social media. It doesn't take a whole, like, grab one of the template tweets, copy it, edit the date, edit the beard, and just say, hey, we're currently working on this beard. Lapis Beard is currently running through. We understand there are server issues and we do apologize for the inconvenience. It says a lot to let people know they're not crazy, that they're not just the only one out there that are running into these issues, and they have to go and like do Reddit posts to try and see like, are you having this problem? Are you having this issue? Is anyone? And then have like 13 people reply, yeah, I'm having that issue. And no resolution, no information inside. Those are the kind of things that I'm like, we need to stay on top of that. We need to still be communicative with the community when there are issues so that they understand that it's something that you're aware of and that you're working on it, because we know eventually it will get fixed. But if they don't know that something is wrong, people are going to ruin their days because they're just sitting there thinking everything's okay until they get disconnected and they try and log back in. And they can't get logged in for 15 minutes and all of their stuff is gone. So aside from the hackers I've been running into lately, there's still weird stuff. We had, I believe it was Captain Chunky in our Gold Hoarder Discord who posted twice that they've been getting a weird error, a weird bug. And it's a dive to Order of Souls for a sea fort, right? Quick little 30-minute jaunt out to a sea fort. And you just, you get the 4 to 6 pieces of treasure for that faction, right? You complete it, Order of Souls, you walk in, Athena treasure. What? Are you messing with me? What is that? What kind of bug is that? You're doing Order of Souls. Why are you getting Athena loot? It's weird stuff like that. And it's not something that is like, it's like for sure set in stone, like repeatable. And I'm like, that is random. Also, random stuff like when you dig up, so you've been out in the Sea of Thieves, you've been sailing around, you jump on an island, there's a skeleton captain there, you kill the skeleton captain and he gives you a map. Everything makes sense, right? Everything's cool. You go, you find the dig spot, you dig it up and you get a PvP crate and you're like, hallelujah, PvP crate. And then something pops up on the screen and it says storage crate sold. What? Why does it say I just dug it up. All I did was dig it up. Why does it say storage crate sold? That's not confusing to new people. They're not sitting there like looking over their shoulder like, did you sell something? Who sold something? Who's at an outpost right now selling something? That's not weird. So it's little things like this that I know that a lot of people, and I have seen I think Hippo put out a video talking about the issues with Sea Thieves. Nobody right now is having a perfect session. Somebody is running into one little weird thing here and there. It's either a stutter or a lag, and I get it. Games are not perfect. They're all hard to maintain all of that. I truly understand that. But one of the things that I think we need to try and do is we need to try and see, as a community, are we going to say one thing and expect something else? Or are we going to say what we want and mean it? Because right now it feels like everyone is saying the game is broke, fix the game. And then I see videos coming out of people talking about how there's no story. There's no reason to jump in. There's no lore. And I'm like, okay, well, we asked them to fix the game. So if they're gonna fix the game, let them fix the game. Let them do that. Don't ask for. It's like when if a waiter were to bring you a steak or something and you're like, no, I didn't ask for this. I know I asked for the steak. Like I appreciate that the prime rib is here. I was actually looking for the lobster though. Could you bring me the lobster? And the waiter's like, but the steak. And you're like, no, yeah, I get that. I know I asked for steak, but I actually wanted you to bring me the lobster instead. That's what I get. That's how I feel right now. That's what I feel like is kind of resonating through the community members. And it could just be that everyone has a different priority. And I fully understand that could just be someone has a different priority. Someone else is looking at the game and they're like, well, it's broke all the time, so why try and fix it? Because it's not going to get fixed. Might as well just give me the lore. Other people are like, no, the game is on fire right now. Please put out the fire. Somebody puke, please. Because we need to put the fire out, and they don't care about lore. So I get that. I 100% understand that. But I did want to start this out and kind of say like, hey, there is lore coming. It's coming with Hunter's Call. They're updating that. We're getting a real faction like stuff that's coming. I don't know if it's coming in hot. It probably is coming in hot. So just, keep that in mind. But they're also trying to work on the game. And I hope that they're able to do this. And the only thing I ask is that if they know that there are issues, communicate that. Use the social media for stuff that is other than, let's see, Sea of Thieves, retweeting other people's stuff and showing who the SOT shot winners are, which shout out to the folks that came out with some of the photos I saw back on the 31st. There's some really good photos for explosions. Anyway, I'm glad that they're literally like they're retweeting other people's stuff and they're posting like sharks and stuff like that. Please continue to use the SOT support channel to identify when there are server issues or hiccups. Please use that as a way to feed in for like bug reports or anything like that. Try to be more engaging with the community outside of the positive stuff that people are doing, to let those that feel the pain of the issues like understand that they are heard, outside of the every couple of weeks video from Drew saying these are the things that we're working on, because we a lot of that is short term and a lot of that is long term, and we want to know, like, are the bugs that we're running into and reporting getting addressed? Are those being seen? Are those being recognized? So I know I'm asking and saying a lot, and I feel like that as someone who's trying to voice trying to voice my opinion on what's going on with the game, I think that there's a lot of life left in Sea of Thieves. I think that there's a lot that they can still do with it. I'm very hopeful for 2025 because I can kind of see the possibility of Rare really wowing us and having something. And I understand there is a surprise and delight that is possible with this year. And if they want to do that, cool. I totally respect their right to want to keep everything low key. But I just ask that you test and you test and you test, and then you test some more, and then you give it to the insiders and you incentivize them in a way that is not based by reputation for something that doesn't relate to the content that you're doing, and you do it based off of renown, where they can actually progress to get their rewards in a meaningful way that doesn't force them down a reputation path to test and to test and to test, so that they can give you the analytics back, so that you can then delay without providing a response to the community saying, like, this is when it's coming out, sorry, we have to delay it. Don't give a date, just delay it. Just let us know that you're working on it, and it'll be ready when it's ready. When it's ready, let us know. If not, don't want to know about it. Just let people test and test and test and test. Get it locked in. Get it fixed. Don't have another disappointing launch. Don't repeat season 14. Make it good. Make it feel fantastic. Give folks a chance to jump in headfirst into season 15's Hunter's Call update and not feel the pain. Stop using the community, the player base, the live client as your test bed for bugs, because it's going to frustrate them. It's going to alienate them from wanting to feel passionate about the game the way you do. I know I've been going for a while now. That's my 2 cents. I wanted to put this episode out because I'm excited about the Hunter's Call update. I think there's some real potential with it, tying into a future Pirate's Life that they could absolutely do in conjunction with a really cool Switch 2 launch that they could absolutely do some fun stuff. It's time intensive. It's a lot of work, but it's one of those things that if they can focus, they can commit to that instead of doing weird random stuff. I think you could really add some meat and potatoes to this game in a healthy way that is going to drive people back to their ships. It's going to push people back onto the seas, and you're going to have the engagement instead of creating these kind of small insular updates that push people together for a short amount of time until everyone gets the commendations done. You will have people engaging in a way that is interested in the story and the history, and then you can go back and pull that all in from past years and give them a time capsule through Safer Seas to be able to just be like, here it is. If you weren't here, we understand. We put a lot into this game, and everyone should have an opportunity to understand, to comprehend, and to experience it, to create your own pirate's life, to create your own story based on the full knowledge instead of having to hear about it secondhand or go back to videos or have to listen to podcasts about what it was like. That's what I'm hoping. That is what I'm dreaming of when I think of 2025 for Sea of Thieves. I don't know if that's possible. It feels like they've got so much on their plate just with all the issues with the game right now and trying to get this last faction knocked out before they are able to really kind of move into anything else. But they have a true opportunity to go and really do something special and to really show people there is still life in this game. It is not dead. It is not going to be dead. There is something special about this that no other game can replicate. There are many games out there right now that are trying to create what Sea of Thieves does, and they're not quite hitting it. Some of them are in different genres. Some of them are just pure emulation. Some of them are taking a twist on it, but none of them are doing exactly what Sea of Thieves can. And I want that to continue. I want that to be something that I'm passionate about and continue to tell people about all the cool stuff that's coming out with the game. But we need to have people in places that are going to actually like be more aggressive with their communication, with their commitments, with their timelines, with their understanding of like what they can and can't do, and stop promising stuff if you're not sure. And if you have to push back on Phil Spencer and be like, buddy, we love you. We know that you want us to get this out. It's not going to happen, because they're fine doing that with Everwild. Everwild got announced back in 2019 at EXO 2019. They announced Everwild. Since then, they have shown one trailer. We still don't know what kind of game that is. We don't even know if that is a game still. But if you want to take that team, scrap Everwild and just say, hey, they're working on Sea of Thieves 2. And they're taking all of the lessons that we learned while making Sea of Thieves for the last 7 years, and they are going to make the most rock solid foundation of a game that when you jump into Sea of Thieves 2, you are going to bring your pirate forward. You're going to be able to have all new cosmetics, a whole new biomes, all new islands, all new threats. Everything is going to be locked in. We're no longer going to be pushing stuff to try and add artificial grinds. We've got seasons locked. We understand the cadence of content. We've really understood like what are the loopholes and the cracks in the game's code that people are able to manipulate to be able to cheat. We've sewn those up. That is what we're going to be doing with Sea of Thieves 2, and you can look forward to that in 2030. And that is what Rare could do. Like, that is like the next console generation will be Sea of Thieves 2. I think that is what I would love to hear from Rare. If I was in Rare's studio, that is me sitting there looking at Joe Need across the table and Mike Chapman across from me and the team over there and being like, guys, we just got to make it through this year and we'll have everything set up for the rest. All right, pirates, I've been going for a long time. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I hope you guys, I hope this resonated with you and gilded you in knowing that I want Sea of Thieves to do well and be prosperous. And I hope that there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pike for us. So if you guys enjoyed this, always feel free to reach out to me. Always free to let me know what you think, how you feel down in the comments, in the Discord, wherever you guys are seeing this content or listening to it. Always welcome to share your feedback. I love reading the comments and knowing like where people's thoughts are. Just the other day I posted something online and some person responded, "It's a dead game, bro." And I responded back to him. I was like, "So what are you playing?" Nothing, no response. They never actually want to say why the game is dead or what they're playing in return, because they don't want to open themselves up to judgment. But the game is here. We're still enjoying it as much as we possibly can. And we're just hoping that the dev team gets things wrapped up so that we can get back to the normal sailing experience that we're all used to. But again, love you guys all. I hope you all have a fantastic day and a good rest of your week. And I'll see you next time on the Sea of Thieves. So thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.